So here's the way I see it. I mean, they agreed at Accra in 2007 that in 10 years, 2017. In 2017, we will bring into existence the United States of Africa. They created the African Parliament, which does exist. They created the African Parliament, but then they say, we will bring into existence the United States of Africa 2017. I don't believe it. I don't think that that's the, I told them, and I use this language advisedly, but I said we need a coalition of the willing. We need to have the nations that have agreed to go along with the United States of Africa to go ahead and become the United States of Africa. And then let the others come in as they see fit, as they feel like they ought to come in. There are 20 nations that have already agreed to be in the United States of Africa. And of course, these include nations like Libya, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon, Zimbabwe. These nations have already agreed. They're ready to go and to form the United States of Africa. Now, the nations that have not, and there are some in the north that have, and some in the north that have not. I mean, for example, Morocco has not. But you also have an interesting situation happening in the north now, and maybe Trans-Africa knows about this, but there is a proposal from the Europeans of what they call the Mediterranean Basin idea. And this Mediterranean Basin idea is to block the idea of the United States of Africa. This idea is to take the nations that surround the Mediterranean and make a particular trade group, an arrangement of those nations, and attach those nations to the European Common Market. So now you have another, another hurdle that is sort of in place there. And it's also, a carrot for the nations in the north. I mean, Tunisia, for example, is ready to go right now. I mean, yeah, we'll go right along with this basin because we don't want to be necessarily a part of the rest of the continent. If they want to give us that, we'll take that, and so forth. So that's that issue and the Morocco issue. These are the two issues that are being fought right now in the African Union as to clarify these positions. And the reason they need to be clarified, and I won't be long, is that the Morocco, of course, has decided that it's not a part of the African Union so long as you have Western Sahara being accepted by the African Union. So this is why sometimes people say 53 nations, sometimes it says 54, is because what do we do with Morocco? That's an interesting situation. Now, there are a couple of other things. They have already decided that they will have one currency, which they're calling the Afro. They have already decided that there will be at least 4 languages, French, English, Kiswahili, and Arabic. They have already decided that there will be a new capital city, which will be created in the continent. They have already decided that that one of the first problems, as Jacqueline was saying, is to get rid of the visa issue. There's no reason why, if you're in Senegal, you can't go to Cote d'Ivoire, or if you're in Zambia, you can't go to Morocco. So that is the issue that the foreign ministers are working on right now as we speak. They're trying to figure out how to resolve the whole visa issue. But then there are several problems that still exist. And these problems are the bilateral agreements that nations have with European nations or Asian nations. I mean, and the U.S. has been very active. And under Condoleezza Rice, the United States government was quite active in creating military bases in Africa and making deals with countries like Niger, countries whose cotton industry has basically been destroyed by the West because of the tariffs, you see. But nevertheless, saying, if you want some money, we'll give you some money if you give us a base. So you have all these issues that are going on the continent between nations and outside nations with contracts and agreements that are being made. So this is loading on to the idea of the United States of Africa, these burdens, so that once you have the idea of the United States of Africa, what do you do with the agreement that Angola has with Portugal? How are you going? I mean, do you honor that or do you break that? I mean, does a nation have to now honor all of these individual agreements that they have made with all these foreign powers? That's a big issue, and it's one that they're still trying to work out and figure out what they're going to do. The question of sovereignty, the question of trade, transportation, the issue of whether or not Africa, for example, the Congo, the question of the Congo, the question of Sierra Leone, Liberia. My idea is we can't wait until we solve all the problems of Africa to have a United States of Africa. You will never have it then. This is the position of what I call the regionalists. The regionalists argue, and this is what Mbeki argued. His position, I don't know what Zuma has argued yet, but Mbeki's position was, let's strengthen the regional organizations, solve all of our problems regionally, and then let's unite. You won't ever do it. You're going to always have problems. Other problems will crop up. There'll be new problems. It's a way for the gradualists to say, this will never happen. And we don't ever want it to happen. The best way for it to happen is, as Nkrumah envisioned it. Tomorrow, the United States of Africa. That's it. You just do it. You have to have the will, and we don't have enough nations with that will to do it. But we do have the 20 nations that do want to have it. And just two more statements I want to make, and then I'll be finished. The Somali pirate thing. The pirates are the Western nations that are dropping poisons in the sea, destroying the fishing grounds of the Somali people. So you have to be clear. We have to be clear in our own philosophy and politics. And I respect Trans-Africa's position, but I'm a Mugabe man. My position is Mugabe. And my position is Mugabe, not just because I lived in Zimbabwe and my son was born in Zimbabwe, but because I understand what he is up against in Zimbabwe. And he is up against a situation when he first started independence. His idea was reconciliation with all the white folks. His idea was, hey, let's have complete reconciliation. But let's not have anybody trying to undermine the government. And let's not have the United States and Britain not paying the money that they're supposed to pay for us to buy the white farms. Let's not have, and when that didn't happen, and the people said, look, we fought for our rights. We can't have, there was one white guy in Zimbabwe who owned property as big almost as the state of Pennsylvania. One man had a farm like that. He took a helicopter to go around his farm once a week. As big as this state, Commonwealth. One white man in Zimbabwe. No, you have to take the land and give it to the rightful owners. What are you going to do? How are you going to resolve the situation in the country? People stole the land, took people off of their land, put them on, I'm sorry, but look, there's so much more to say. And let's not get into this question about good governance and human rights and corruption in Africa and all that kind of stuff, because I'm going to tell you, I live in Pennsylvania.